Everybody say hi to YouTube. I wish I remembered this person's username because I got a great comment on my first on my last YouTube upload, last Dev Diary reading. They just said, "Hi, I'm YouTube." And I thought that was great. I'm sorry I forgot your name, but your comment made me laugh. So I hope you're watching this one. Person whose name I forgot. Alright. So I haven't spoiled much of this. I skimmed it again. Nothing jumped out to me. So we'll just hop right into it. Hello there, welcome back to the first official Dev Diary for our core expansion this year, Cons of the Steppe. For those who did not see it, we first talked about the DLC back last month with Dev Diary 162 step by step, so I recommend reading that first. Actually, for the sake of YouTube, I don't think I think I talked about it on stream, but holy shit, they're adding all of Asia. I'm looking forward to hearing more about that. Hey Leo, good to see you. Today we'll discuss tributaries, confederations, and raid intents. All three topics we mentioned in the previous Dev Diary, but we'll discuss them at length in this one. So let's settle in like a migrating nomad and get started. Going well, Leo. How you doing? I haven't had a chance to message you since I got off work, but I do have an answer about cat names. I will message you after stream. I have not forgotten this time, and I do actually have a suggestion. The team has gone through an intense iteration period based on both feedback collected internally and the comments received from our previous Dev Diary. Many changes have been thus made, and we are sure we're not done with it yet. However, there's a small list of some of the most significant tweaks based on your feedback. A new base tributary type has been made available for non-nomads. They're adding tributaries back, which is cool, and you don't have to be nomadic. Concerns about the nomadic economy have been addressed by adding monthly income for nomads based on their herd size, symbolizing the trade of meat, hides, etc. Oh. I didn't even think of that. Right, they have no source of income. A game rule has been added to include nomadic governments in the Sahel, Arabia, Horn of Africa, Sami, and Karelia regions. Oh, cool. Sahel, Arabia, Horn of Africa, Sami, and Karelia. Are they nomadic or are they herders? They must be nomadic. That's going to be cool. Oh, and it's a game rule. It's not by default. That's interesting. Tweak the borders of the steppe and characters who should be nomadic in all bookmarks. More than I can list here. Screenshots will be shared in following diaries. We've added a culture and faith specific to your nomadic capital, different than your own. Ooh. So it's different. It's also different than county capital because it'll travel with you. That makes sense. Adventurers can now become nomads if they move into a herder holding. We've expanded what we originally scoped for raising. Raising isn't a mechanic now. Right. We've extended and altered the effects of some seasons. We've made it possible to grow your herd if you hold lands outside of the steppe. giving those counties fertility if held by a nomad. Great. Arabia could be very interesting depending on the time period. Absolutely. I think if out of this area, I feel like I know the most about nomads in the Sahel and Arabia, but also Sami and Karelia. It's always been a little... I've always noticed it's a little odd that they're not nomadic. It's either anarchist or accidentally socialist. One of the new features we're introducing with Cons of the Steppe and the free update that goes along with it are tributaries. Vast nomadic realms like the Cumans, Khitans, and Khazars were not kept together by a tiered system of formal vassalage and pledges of fealty, nor were they delineated by culture or religion. Indeed, the harsh realpolitik of the steppe applied. Whoever could muster the greatest capacity for destruction on their neighbors proved themselves worthy of tribute, in exchange for the privilege of not being trampled under hoof. Modeling this type of subject relationship properly was the impetus for the tributary feature. Let's back up a bit and discuss some fundamentals first, though. Because tributaries aren't just a nomad thing, while tributaries are similar to vassals in some respects, they represent a whole new type of unequal diplomatic relationship in the game. As a result, many game elements that formerly referred to vassals now refer to subjects instead. Subjects can be either vassals or tributaries, and these subtypes adhere to different rules. As with vassal contracts, there can be different types of tributary contracts with varying degrees of obligations. In most cases, these terms can be renegotiated. Okay. Thanks for the hydrate and stretch. Excuse me. Tributaries can be seen as more independent subjects type compared to vassals. While in most cases they share the map color and realm name with their suzerain, they can act and be acted with independently, even when it comes to warfare. Most tributary types can be created through peaceful means, by a sovereign ruler pledging tribute to a nomadic realm in exchange for a guarantee not to be attacked by them, or through a nomadic ruler demanding tribute from a neighboring realm. Agreements of tribute are usually perpetuated across generations, but may change in nature over time or be more easily broken when the contract changes hands. I've been getting so many spam calls. Becomes a settled tributary, gain a truce with each other, normal taxes, normal levies, prestige transfer, no tributary war support, no suzerain guarantee. Arabs used to be nomadic, but not if they settled, only when to wander the desert. Right. Yeah, there was a lot of, sort of central... It wasn't there, in different periods, there was a lot of, there was a big divide between, like, coastal Arabia and the Levant versus, like, the Central Arabian Peninsula in terms of culture and governance. No better time to stop paying money to someone than when their predecessor dies? Yeah, absolutely. His boldness, your Gurkhan, relative military strength, difference in dominance, his opinion of you. If some scary nomadic realm is at your border and you'd like to remain as independent as possible, you can proactively choose to pay them tribute to avoid outright conquest. Existing vassals can be released as tributaries, and in some cases you can even vassalize an existing tributary. Ooh. That's interesting. The Levant was also an absolute mess, especially Syria, with its centuries-long civil... Right. True. I just mean, in terms of that region, especially in the early Middle Ages, there was a big divide between people in the cities and people and nomadic peoples. Whereas the cities tended to be more coastal and or Mesopotamian. Although, once we talk about Mesopotamia, we're kind of sort of getting out of Arabia. Depending on your definition of where Arabia starts and ends. Nomadic tributaries are what you will encounter most frequently in Khans of the Steppe. These consist of nomadic realms or spineless herders who have pledged tribute to the stronger nomadic ruler on their border. They will pay a part of their herd in tribute on a regular basis, and some of the prestige they gain will also be conferred upon their suzerain. In exchange for tribute, they enjoy a great deal of independence from their suzerain and will not be outright attacked or raided by them. They can even have tributaries of their own. Settled tributaries are non-nomadic realms, such as feudal princes, tribes, or clans, who have yielded to a bordering nomadic ruler. Like their nomadic tributary counterparts, they will pay tribute on a regular basis, but instead of herd, they will provide golden levies. Oh, so that means you can have levies as a nomadic ruler if you have settled tributaries. Both these types of tributary contracts are inherited across generations, but they also have quite a bit of leeway in simply ceasing payments if they are ready to face the consequences of insulting their suzerain, that is. This is most likely to happen if a nomadic suzerain proves themselves weak in some way, and therefore unworthy of tribute by the laws of the steppe. Like losing a war or suffering a chaotic Rulatai succession. Once tributaries opt to stop sending gifts to their suzerain, the suzerain can choose to attack them to recover control, or let them go to try to make their own destiny without their protection. To try to keep this from happening, nomadic suzerains can either be lenient with their contract conditions, or leverage their dread to demand obedience of their tributaries. Crusades put an end to the divide by giving them an enemy to unite on. Even Syrians got along for a bit. It was impressive. What is... Oh no! Shit. Hold on, I need to check something. And welcome back, everybody who got hit by ads and everybody who's watching on YouTube. Hopefully that's the end of the network problems for today. I'm going to yell. Ah. Anyway. Your tributary. Yearly chance of ceasing tributary payments, 0%. Because of their obedience and relative military power. Cease tribute chance, none. They are paying 0 gold and 34 herd. This realm has -3 vassal opinion. This many vassals of these types. I think this is a lot of minority vassals. 0 dread, 13 vassals. They're gaining 0.1 gold from tributaries and this much herd. Your subject view will display if any of your tributaries are likely to stop paying you and why. Obedience plays a strong role in keeping your subjects in line, but even disobedient ones will be reluctant to stop paying off stronger suzerains. More factors will be added before launch, such as losing a war or having chaotic Kulatai successions. Call starts in 5 minutes, so I'm going to have to dip now. You have a good rest. You have a good call, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. A third type of subjugated tributary has been added, which has no direct relation to nomads. This is a tributary obliged to pay a lot of gold and a small amount of prestige to their suzerain in exchange for their suzerain's protection from outside invasion. If attacked, a subjugated tributary can call their suzerain in to defend them, and if they refuse, their tributary obligations are annulled. Any non-nomadic realm can create this type of tributary through the Bring Under Tribute CB, enabling the extortion of neighboring protectorates through sheer military might. This contract does not get inherited by the suzerain's heir upon their death, but also cannot be voluntarily broken. If the tributary wishes to break free of their obligations prior to their suzerain's death, they will have to fight them for independence. Bring Brittany under tribute. Leave Brittany alone. Even feudal realms can subjugate neighboring kingdoms to make them pay tribute if their crown authority is high enough. Oh, it's crown authority based. Interesting. It's important to note that it's possible to modify the terms of a tributary contract just like the vassal contract. For example, nomads can negotiate for protection by their suzerain in exchange for higher tribute payments. If you and your tributary are blood brothers, you can even negotiate a guarantee that they will follow you on all military adventures, offensive as well as defensive. Even the tributary can try to negotiate the terms, but without a good relationship or a hook, a hook on your suzerain, this may not be met with limited success. Holy shit, speaking is hard. So feudal taxes and levies are the same. Feudal prestige is now being paid. Suzerain guarantee or tributary war support. So suzerain guarantee, the suzerain will come in if you're attacked. Tributary war support, the tributary will join in the suzerain's wars. You have a blood brother? That's cool as hell. I guess I don't think it's quite that official, but I was gonna say I guess I kind of do too, but it's a weird situation. Hey, Toxicite. Tributaries seem pretty exciting so far. I think I don't think it's anything too groundbreaking, however. Another aspect of tributaries of nomadic realms is that they can provide new men-at-arms to their suzerain. Ooh. In keeping with the flexible and heterogeneous nature of steppe warfare, nomad rulers are able to recruit men-at-arms from both tributaries and vassals as if they were their own. Since the men-at-arms are recruited from other realms rather than an additional cost of herd to represent the development of more advanced mounted units, this costs a premium in gold to entice the foreigners to join up with the Khan's formidable horde. Makes sense. Mine's also a weird situation. Well, there you go. I was just gonna say, I sort of do. But it's not nothing. It's not nothing. It ain't nothing so official. I don't know why that kind of slipped out that way. It's nothing all that official. If you don't have any subjects with access to some of the basic men-at-arms types, you get a little hint suggesting who might give you access to them. Oh, create armored footmen from the following realms if they were either tributary or vassal. Visually, tributary realms will typically adopt the map, color, and name of their suzerain to clarify the relationship between them. Modders might be interested to know that this behavior can be changed in script depending on the subject contract. You can make tributary types that do not inherit the suzerain's color or name, or just one of them as well. So they're kind of using the system of admin where vassals would provide men-at-arms. Yeah, kind of. So what I understand about the military of nomads so far is that the nomads don't have levies. Instead, they have tribal herds, which are really shitty cavalry. But you can spend herd to upgrade those into special nomad men-at-arms. But then you can also purchase the other types of men-at-arms with gold from tributaries. Which is a really interesting nuance. I think that's gonna provide some interesting flavor to playing to the military game for nomads. In 867, the Khazars dominate the western steppe, while the Kyrgyz control the eastern parts. The Karlets and the Ogres are powerful nomadic realms in the central steppe region, and have a lot of opportunity to compete for the smaller nomadic and tribal realms towards the northern parts. Wonder if those are considered event spawned or actual recoverable men-at-arms. Oh, good question. In 1066, the western and central steppe regions are dominated by the Cumans in the south, with a considerable tributary network maintaining their control of the center and maintaining their power against the Karluks and the Khitans. The Pechenigs have migrated west and act as a buffer zone between the steppe and the Byzantine Empire. Will they manage to become their own nomadic powerhouse or fall to either of their titanic neighbors? I meant to ask now, but remembered since one of these maps is the one in it. Yes. To answer the question I think you're asking. Yes. Was not intentional, but yes. Not intentional at first, but I left it intentionally. If that's what you're asking about. Although in the map that screenshot's taken from, it's called Kumania, rather than the Cumans. Yeah, no, it was not intentional, actually. But once I noticed it, it was very funny to me, so I left it. And this is regarding my header and my icon in several places. In 1078, the Cumans remained the most powerful nomadic realm in the steppe, but for how long? The Khitans are migrating south into East Asia, leaving their old lands to the fractured Mongols to thrive. New banner will now say the Come. Oh, that's really good, actually. I might have to remake it once I get an opportunity. Since tributaries inherit all the functionality of the vassal contract system with few extensions, they are very flexible and capable of modeling a great deal of unequal relationships between realms and rulers. There's a fair chance you will see more tributary types and dynamics added to the game in the future, and the system is fully available to modders to play with as well. But how would you deal with these massive aggressive nomadic realms as a smaller nomad who just wants to live a laid-back, peaceful nomadic lifestyle? Perfect, thank you. I'm now drowning, I'm sorry. Brothers and sisters, do you ever tire of lusting after power? When you jump into the game as a meek little count, do you wish friends and neighbors would stand together with you against the masters of the world? Ooh. Do you want something new to do as a tribal? Say no more, brothers and sisters, but the sacred words, the oath of confederation. In short, confederations are a new way for nomads and tribals to feel safe while initially building their power, playing tall, etc. How do you play tall as a tribal? It's also a bit of an extra challenge for those looking to easily gobble up areas of the map that lack a mighty king or empire. I feel like this will make Norse power gamers go even harder, potentially. Hopefully it makes things harder on Norse power gamers. Like, maybe it'll make uniting Scandinavia harder. Estonia mightn't have looked quite like this, but hopefully this captures some of the spirit. 12th century Estonia. The inspirations from confederations came from a visit to beautiful Tallinn, Estonia, which I highly recommend. A fascinating conversation with a very learned scholar in medieval Baltic history, and a visit to the Great Guildhall Museum therein. An exhibit asked the questions, why did Estonia not become a kingdom? It's an interesting question with at least a few answers. In a sense, the Estonian tribes did actually have kings, but these were temporary war leaders or spiritual figures, and they did not serve to unite the tribes together into one lasting polity. They are mentioned as stubborn figures of resistance in the Christian chronicles of conquest. This kind of defensive decentralization seemed new for CK3. I immediately wanted to represent it in our game. And of course there are the steppe confederations of history. The Kumag Mongol, the Kimik Kipchaks, the Magyars, and so on. To consider and draw from a well, I'm also a Canadian, by the way, and Confederation has been a force of history around the Great Lakes for quite a while. Fair enough. Let's go through the confederating process and discuss. Want to be a Jordanian nomad in the Middle Ages? Had the most chill life ever? That sounds rad. Enables offer Confederation character interaction. May be used on independent Duke or Count level rulers to add them to a shared confederations. Will always join each other's defensive wars. May not raid or declare war on each other. Gain Confederation grazing and some county fertility. Restricts dominance and prevents creating new titles. After a few years, Confederates may leave the Confederation or migrate away. The first step is a decision that enables you to offer Confederation to other rulers. Its warnings are to be taken seriously. You will likely have to leave your Confederation if you want to increase your station in the world, though means like title creation, migration, dominance, through means like title creation, migration, dominance, or enrich yourself by attacking, raiding your fellow weaklings. You must be independent. Your highest held title is less than or equal to duchy. You are not a tributary. You must be tribal or nomadic. At least one of these. Either have the law unruly nomads, limited dominance, high dominance. So this is crown authority, whatever it's being flavored as for tribes and nomads. I don't remember the term. You do not have the trait conqueror or greatest of Khans. You have to be something of a small fish. Who can make a confederation? Well, you have to be standing on your own, and you can't be standing very tall. These same restrictions apply to all prospective confederates. At least one of these. Diplomat, patriarch. Entering neighboring ruler's suzerain, or ruler in the same de jure kingdom as your capital. Has at least double your military strength, is not allied to you. Highest held title is greater or equal to kingdom rank, considers your faith to be evil, is a conqueror, or is the greatest of Khans. Most of the time you'll need a big scary common foe. Bottom feeder, yes. Confederations in CK3 will be fleeting, ephemeral things and focus largely on deterring the depredations, yes, no, that was right, of powerful neighbors. Thus, they will almost always be created in response to major powers being at their borders. It's been really cool to watch conquerors and great kings arise as they do. Confederations spring up along their underbellies like nests of rats or colonies of fire ants. There is now a third, sometimes viable, alternative to submit or die. The possible faith hostility trigger also works really nicely along the borderlands between pagan tribals and reformed faiths. It means the former can often be seen making the Confederation defense arrangement to resist the brutal tide of history. Oh my gosh, we might actually see shoot, I forgot the name of the faith in the Balkans. We might actually see it survive more often. Oh, I think the music just quit out on me. Yep. Given confederations are available across the map to both nomads and tribals, related content is laced with conditional lock and effects to keep things from feeling too inappropriate. That said, this isn't a content-heavy feature. Development on confederations instead focused on making it an effective new mechanic. Okay. The interaction used to create a confederation and add new members. The character interaction offer confederation, unlocked by the call for confederation decision or by confederation membership, is how Brothers in Arms Last Stand style shit comes to pass. Notice that because migration removes members from the confederation, their incentives to stay put longer. A positive county fertility modifier and an immediate county fertility boost. AI should also be more reluctant to migrate than usual for at least a few years. Excuse me. Your level of investment in your confederation can make a big difference in its strength. Herd, prestige, and hooks can be sacrificed to make valid members more willing to join. Isn't that nice? He accepts. Member of the Kimek Confederation. Icon and breakdown. It looks like it's a little off-centered right now. This is all work in progress, of course, but... Arabia entered the context? Yeah. You could see confederations of those regions defending against incursions into the interior of Arabia, into the Sahel, into northern Scandinavia. That could really hamper expansion. It could also hamper Biz from expanding rapidly across the steppes like they sometimes do. Alright, just drinking more coffee. Confederations aren't a title. Their closest equivalent is an alliance or truce. Thus, they live in the diplomacy space of the character view. Here you can see all members of the Confederation. The Kimek Confederation is a culture-based name, which happens when both of the first members are of the same culture. When they aren't, the Confederation will be named after the founders de jure duchy, i.e. the Seme Confederation, the Cargassia Confederation, etc. A handful of Kimeks have joined the Confederation. If you squint, it's on the left. Doesn't that mean you could literally be Salah al-Din and into the Crusades? I think in... Yes, but also... I think, unfortunately, it's not going to allow... large clan governments to be part of confederations. Although theoretically you can still have that with the existing Crusade mechanics, so it's definitely still something that could play out. On the map, confederations will look similar to the new tributaries. Their individual realm names are replaced by the overall confederation, and their map colors are blended towards the main confederation color, based on the founder's capital. You may notice that the members remain rather unevenly sized. That's because only independent top rulers are members of the confederation, and their vassals, if they have any, are not. Depends on the time period, I suppose. Absolutely. When a confederation member is attacked is when the organization really comes into its own. All members are automatically added as defenders, and this can result in a pretty potent nest of bees that the aggressor just poked. Accordingly, the combined strength of a confederation is shown when opening the Declare War screen on one of its members. And AI should be appropriately hesitant to attack strong confederations. Note that this applies only to members' defensive wars. They cannot call on the confederations when they themselves declare offensive wars. I have stood in defense of my fellow Oh, my scroll wheel is slowly breaking. Oh my god, my nose is... the thing I was complaining about earlier. My sinuses were just like closing up as I spoke. I've stood in defense of my fellow Confederates long enough, and now I will stand alone, and if the Confederation cannot survive without me, it deserves oblivion. While AI will usually give the Confederation at least a few years of their time, players are quite free to strike off on their own whenever, albeit for higher prestige costs during the first couple years. The AI weighing for this decision is heavily dependent on circumstance. Chief among those is the presence of big nearby threats that necessitate confederation. The result is that where confederations are needed, they should prove much more lasting and resilient, and when they're no longer needed, they should often quickly disband. Jeez, these fucking allergies. I'm so sorry. Bro Trail. Not Bro Trail. It's a good pun. And there it is, Confederation. I hope this run-through has cleared up the feature. And remember, the Crusader Kings player who stands alone dies alone. Call up a friend right now and ask if they'd fucking die for you. Post results in the comments. Do it. Do it, chat. Do it, YouTube. Post results in the comments of this video. Sure, lol. We discussed raid intents in the previous dev diary with a small work in progress screenshot. It's time to expand what we said then. First of all, we should talk about loot. As you know, we've had loot in the game for quite a while. Yes, gold you can take from a settlement as you raid them, as a tribal ruler or pagan, which you then bring back home to turn into gold and prestige. We haven't changed the core mechanic of loot, but we've disconnected it slightly from being purely gold, now that you have more ways of using it. Jeez. With raid intents, we now have ways of turning that loot into other things, to symbolize your aims as you are raiding foreign lands. Pillage, terrorize, capture, plunder, and adventure. Here's the new raid intent screen for nomads. After a small art pass and after we added some proper names, now let's look at the default raid intent for nomadic rulers. Pillage. Types of loot: 100% gold, 150% herd. If they are unable to defend themselves, they will be trampled underneath our hooves as we take what is rightfully ours. I need to remember what that one game was that was kind of like the Oregon Trail, but about running a tribe and forming a tribal confederation, because this keeps reminding me of it. You could raid your neighbors for their cattle. It's a fairly straightforward calculation. If you bring home 100 loot, you'll get 100 gold and 150 herd out of it when you return to your borders. Most of the other raid intents have some kind of separate side effects in addition to their base calculation, so let's look at some of them. Adventure, gold and herd. Hostile county attrition goes down, army loot capacity goes up, but raid speed is much slower, and movement speed over land while raiding. This is dangerous. This is really dangerous if you get caught out while doing this, even though you can carry more loot. Nomads were known for raiding far and wide, with the Hungarian raiders, for example, bringing home loot from all across Europe. With the adventure raid intent, it will take a bit longer to reach each settlement, but you can carry a significantly larger amount of loot with you, and you'll take no hostile county attrition. It should be noted that within the steppe, nomad rulers will not take any hostile county attrition regardless of raid intent, but they will regularly take attrition outside of it. Plunder, even more golden herd, may gain an innovation. Much slower raid speed, and much slower movement speed. Plunder symbolizes that you aren't necessarily just taking anything, but trying to find the most valuable things to take. It will take significantly longer to raid every single settlement. Fuck. YouTube. Not YouTube. Twitch. Internet. Spectrum. Fuck. Alright. One more time recording. Hopefully it's, going to be the last time that I have to hit the record button, because we're almost done. Plunder symbolizes that you aren't necessarily just taking anything, but trying to find the most valuable things to take. It will take significantly longer to raid every single settlement. Still, the loot conversion as you get home is considerably better, and you have a chance to learn innovations of a culture as you raid a settlement, if they know about something you do not. Though the chances are quite low. Ooh. That's cool, though. This is cool for tribals. For those less interested in the loot itself, but rather other side effects, you might want to take the capture raid intent to significantly increase the chance of capturing someone as you raid a settlement, like maybe the Pope. Hypothetically, maybe you want to eat the Pope. You know, just throwing that out there. Totally normal thing. Maybe you want to eat the Pope. Great if you're looking to ransom someone or eat the Pope. Throw this on, go raid Rome, eat the Pope. It's a thing. Don't worry about it. Last but not least, you have the opportunity to destroy. It's an opportunity for nomads to increase their prestige, as they don't get any prestige from other raid interests, and their dread, which is more important for nomads. It also destroys buildings and development and settles they raid. Awesome. Now, one thing to mention is that we don't only have raid intents for nomads, but for other raiders as well. Regular raiders also have access to the terrorize raid intent, so feel free to bring destruction to your enemies, no matter which flavor of uncivilized you are. They also have access to pillage, but in a slightly different form. So pillage now gives gold and prestige instead of gold and herd. Like current functionality, you simply change your loot to gold and prestige, and for Vikings they have access to a slightly modified version of adventure. How is this different? Oh, is it just because they have gained prestige? If you want to raid your way down to Constantinople and then home again, and boy do we, feel free to take this to bring all that loot back home. Now for the other side, you can destroy the raiders as you enter their lands, but we have also made one small adjustment so you can protect yourself a bit against any incoming threat. Oh, where is it? Hostile raid time. We've increased the hostile raid time reduction in the building, so you have more time to respond to incoming threats. It also reduces the chance of special raid intents. In other words, it reduces the improvements from the capture raid intent, minimizes the chance of terrorizing ruining your lands, and for plunder to find any innovation. Upgrading the building will improve the effect and block raid special intents from happening outright. In other words, something to keep in mind if you experience a lot of raids in your land, like, for example, in the British Isles. That's it for this week. Next week, we plan to revisit migrations and the nomadic government. So we hope to see you again. Go forth and conquer, my blood brothers. Thanks. You can't see me, but I just did a boy at computer thumbs up. Alright, if you're watching this on YouTube and you got this far through all the tech issues, like, comment, subscribe, update, yada yada yada. Say bye to YouTube, everybody. I said the things. I feel disgusting. I need to go take a shower. Bye, YouTube.